Hi, everybody. I'm Kirk Montgomery, and welcome to the very first Kirk's Critters Plus. This is a whole brand new experience for me, probably you at home as well. But we're going to get through this. It's some new technology that we're doing for WLNS Plus, our new app. And so, yeah, I'm expanding the Kirk's Critters world to Kirk's Critters Plus. And my very first guest should be familiar to you. Good morning.
Good morning.
If you ever watched Kirk's Critters on the 12 o'clock show, you know who Hannah is. And Hannah, thank you so much for being my first guest. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
So this is going to be very, it's new for all of us. So we're just asking for everyone's patience. But hopefully we'll have a little bit of fun and learn a little bit at
Absolutely.
the same time.
Yeah.
So the first thing I want to know is, well, first we should mention you're from Ingham County Animal Control and Shelter, right?
Yes.
And what is your official title?
So my official title is Community Outreach Manager.
Okay.
And I've been at the shelter for 5 years now.
Okay.
I started February of 2020 as a clerk.
Oh.
So adoptions and intake. Yep.
Okay.
And then from there, I actually went to dispatch. So I was taking the calls from the public and then dispatching our officers to go out in the field.
Well, so let's talk about that because
Yes.
I've only experienced you guys with the shelter aspect of it.
Yep.
Why don't you explain to everyone what the other aspect of the place, what does it do? What's it for?
Yes, so people still get confused because, as you said, our name, Ingham County Animal Control and Shelter.
Right.
So they ask us, are you one or the other? Are you both? So we are both.
Okay.
So we service all of Ingham County. That means from the Lansing area down to Leslie, Williamston, all over. So that basically means if there's any situation that involves our attention, our animal controls officers' attention, think of it as dog at large, livestock at large.
Wait, livestock?
Yes.
How often does that happen?
Actually, more frequently than you think. Yeah.
Like, give me an example. What kind of livestock? Like just there's a horse in the middle of the
That could
road?
be cows, chickens, and it's not just the out county either. This is like in Lansing.
Okay.
So recently we had a goat, some
What?
turkeys. Yep. We had a mini pony one time that one of our officers had to get in the back of their SUV. Yep.
Well, who loses a mini pony?
Apparently it was a new addition to the family, if I remember correctly, and he
Okay.
kind of wandered off. So, but luckily we found the owner in that situation. So yes, it's not just cats and dogs.
Okay.
We do get the livestock. Think bite cases, cruelty cases, neglect cases. So that's the animal control side of things. And then we have the shelter.
Well, let's talk about that. So
Yeah.
if you suspect, God forbid, your neighbor is abusing their animal, what is the process?
Yep. So first thing you're going to want to do is contact us. So there's a couple different ways to do that. So we have an email, report animal cruelty at ingham.org. We have an online submission on our website. We also have a phone number to call.
Okay.
So whichever way you prefer, and a lot of people ask if they can remain anonymous.
Right.
That is always acceptable. But yeah, the first thing we always recommend that you do is call it in. We're going to investigate. And then...
Well, so let's talk about that for just a moment. So talk about the investigation process, like how you just don't take someone's word for it, right?
No,
I mean,
no.
you need to go out there and see what's going on.
So the complaint comes in and it automatically gets assigned to one of our officers.
Okay.
So they go out, they do the full investigation to figure out, if it is founded or unfounded. But yeah, no, they are very thorough, very good at their job. But yeah, so they do the thorough investigation and they always respond back to the complainant. So they know, hey, here's what happened, here's the situation, that kind of thing.
And so how long does that process take?
Honestly, it depends on the call. It could be involving one visit. It could be involving multiple visits. Another thing we always like to do is try to work with the owner. So our first instinct is not to just take the animal.
Right.
We never want that. We don't want more animals at the shelter.
Yeah.
The animals we have, we want them to find homes. We don't want to bring more in.
Right.
So we always work with the owner. But like I said, it could involve one visit, it could involve multiple visits. Maybe it's an animal that needs vet care or, something like that, following up with the owner to see if they got the vet care. But you never know. Each call's a little bit different.
And so what is the reaction from the owner? I would think that they're not happy that there's a knock on the door.
Yes.
right?
Yeah, no, usually the instinct is, hey, why are you here? What do you want? And that fear of, are you going to take my animal?
Right.
I mean, I can imagine that's what's going through their head at the time. So we really are trying to combat that dog catcher mentality,
Right.
that we're not just out there to take your dog, your cat. Like, we really want to work with you. We really want to give you the resources if you need them, which is kind of where my job comes into play as community outreach manager.
So what kind of resources? Give me an example of that.
Yep. So one of the big things we do, do vaccine clinics for Ingham County residents.
Okay.
So they're during the warm months. So we start in the spring and we do pretty large scale ones. We actually do our dog vaccine clinics at the Ingham County Fairgrounds.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of drive-through style. So your dog actually remains in the vehicle while we administer the vaccines. So
that reminds me of remember in the beginning of COVID?
Yes.
You would drive through to get tested.
So that's
right?
where we started it during COVID, and it worked so well. We continued doing it. So we do the dog vaccine clinics, we do the cat vaccine clinics, and it's just the basics. But we often see animals come into the shelter that have preventable diseases had they got those vaccines.
Right.
So it's just a little thing we can do in addition to vaccine clinics.
Now, is that free to
Yes.
people?
Yep.
Okay.
So the vaccines are free. The only thing we do require is that they purchase a dog license.
Oh, right.
So, yep.
Well, and that is the law, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You have
Dogs are required to be
Okay.
licensed. Yes. So, and part of getting them licensed is they have to have a rabies. So they get the rabies at the vaccine clinic, the rabies vaccine, and then they can purchase the dog license. So it's a one-stop shop.
So now let's talk about the shelter aspect.
Yeah.
Because you hear stories, or you've told me stories sometime about strays or owner surrender.
Yep.
What are the various scenarios that an animal would find themselves at your place?
Yeah. So just like we talked about animal control officers, so there's different avenues where an animal can come into the shelter. So whether it was a stray that an animal control officer picked up, a stray that a member of the public picked up and brought to the shelter, owner surrenders, and owner surrenders, I mean, they can be various different reasons why they're surrendering. Everything from, they're moving to maybe someone in the household developed an allergy to can't afford. There's so many different reasons. Unwanted litters. Maybe their pets were unaltered, had a litter, and now there's more mouths to feed. So many reasons.
Do you initially try and, especially with an owner surrender, do you try and
Yes.
talk them out of it?
Not talk them out of it, but see if there are resources that we can provide. Maybe so, like we talked about. So. That initial consultation or that initial phone call when they contact us and say, hey, I'm looking to surrender, we always ask why. What's the reason? Right. So things like allergies, that may be something we may not be able to, I don't know if someone wants to go through all the allergy testing. And
Well, and I got to tell you a story here, because the way I got my guy, Denver the cat, is his original owner developed a allergy.
Yep.
And it's a crazy story because I just casually happened to mention when I was working in the Grand Rapids market, and I casually mentioned Denver the cat briefly on TV. And I got an email from a viewer who happened to be watching and said, Kirk, I had a cat named Denver that I had to give up because I got an allergy. She says, here are a few photos of when he was a kitten.
Oh, my gosh.
It was him.
I got goosebumps.
It
Oh,
was
my
him.
gosh.
So I reached out to her right away, and I said, I would love to come and do an interview with you. And I called it How I Met Your Mother.
That's awesome.
And it was her. And at first I was a little bit, unsure, like, oh, does she want him back?
Right,
Or,
yeah.
She was the most gracious woman. And it also was very helpful because I was able to, she only had him about 6 months, but I was able to get some health information about him, how he had a skin condition when he was a kitten.
Oh, wow.
That was taken care of with medication. And she was also just so thankful that Denver had ended up in a loving home with me. But what are the odds, right? What are the odds?
No, and situations like that, she was she knew her quality of life wasn't ideal. And, you can't really snuggle with a cat that you're allergic to. So I'm sure Denver kind of was, so I hear stories like that all the time. The owners just want what's best for their pet.
But you also hear sometimes
Rough.
like there are some that are kind of rough.
Yep.
Where maybe they got too many.
Yep.
Is it called hoarding when you have too many animals?
Yes. Yeah. So just like you were at the shelter yesterday. So we were in the cat room and I told you we had a bunch of new cats move up and it turns out it was a group of 8 to 10 cats that were owner surrendered from one home. So, and the varying personality. So you saw the ones that were super outgoing and then you saw the one that was kind of scared, wide-eyed, hiding.
So in that particular case, and again, we're not going to mention any names or anything, but what did the owner just say? I've got too many, or I made a mistake, or
yeah, and that's I think people don't realize how fast cats can reproduce sometimes. So
they weren't fixed.
that's my guess. I don't know the specifics, but it could be. It could be all it takes is one unaltered male and one unaltered female. So, and they all kind of had similar styles to them. They're all long-haired, kind of darker. So it wouldn't surprise me, honestly, if that's what it took.
Did this particular person want to keep one or two, or did they?
That I don't remember. To be honest, though, it would be hard to give up all of your animals. I couldn't imagine having a house full and then coming home to an empty house.
I know. So we just don't know in this particular case.
But I do know we are always willing to work with the owner where maybe it's a situation where, okay, if you surrender X many of cats, you want to keep these two, but we're going to spay and neuter them that this situation doesn't happen again. Right,
because you got out of control.
Exactly. Yep.
What are some other scenarios? I know we've talked before, like maybe the owner died and,
yes.
And the family didn't know what to do.
Yes.
Right?
So I actually got a dog that way. So it was a situation where, owner passed away. So in those circumstances, the police are usually involved where a family member, maybe does a welfare check or calls a welfare check. So the police go out, discover the owner has passed away, but there's animals.
Right.
What do you do with the animals?
Right.
So, in the situation where I got my dog, so there was 3 animals in the home and my dog, she actually wouldn't leave her owner's side.
Oh my gosh.
So our officers actually had to tranquilize her to get her out of the home. And I am a Great Dane lover. She was a Great Dane.
Okay.
Her name was Dolce. I love that dog so much. But
you still have her?
She actually we had to put her down a couple years ago, but it was a hospice situation. She was in pretty rough shape, very skinny. So we didn't think we'd have her very long, but we actually got her for 2 years.
Okay.
So
that's 2 years.
I still consider it worth it.
Absolutely.
So I'm a sucker for the seniors, but yeah, that situation, we had a situation not too long ago. Owner passed away. We got 2 turkeys and a goat.
Wait a minute.
Yep.
Say that one more time.
Owner passed away. We got 2 turkeys and a goat. Yep. So we have to roll with the punches. So yes, usually we have cats and dogs, but we could be a phone call away from what do we do with these?
Okay, so that's what did you do with them?
Yes. So luckily,
and be careful because it's Thanksgiving week.
So luckily we have a livestock pen.
Okay.
So we are very fortunate. We have a livestock pen with a lean-to, a chicken coop, and from what we understood, they just free roam the property. So the goats and the turkeys together, they're kind of bonded. So we got the phone call. They were on the way to the shelter. We set it up, and it was actually really cute. We put the turkeys in the chicken coop. The goat was in the livestock pen around it, and the turkeys and goat were actually bonded where the goat was laying outside the chicken coop. Yeah, it was adorable. It broke our heart. So we actually...
What happens to them?
So in this situation, we were able to get in touch with Next of Kin.
Okay.
And Next of Kin made a connection to actually a school with an ag program. Agriculture program.
Right.
So last week, we actually did a short little reel on our Instagram and Facebook where we kind of paraded the turkey and goat through the hallway to the livestock trailer.
Okay.
So they are now going to be part of a school program.
That's awesome.
So we have connections. We have fosters when we get, the barnyard critters that, they step up and like, hey, I can actually take those.
Right.
But sometimes it comes down to a Facebook post like, hey, anyone want a chicken?
Right. So what are some other examples of odd experiences with
Oh,
animals
yes.
that you can think of?
To be honest, the ones that come to mind are kind of the various critters. I know we're already talking about this, but we've had this year a lot of birds and as far as
Now,
domesticated birds,
yeah,
parakeets, cockatiels.
where do you keep them? Because I've never seen them there.
Yep. So usually they end up staying in the offices in the back.
Okay.
So our director is a champ, and she usually will volunteer to have them. We actually just had this one bird. It was adopted by one of our staff members. It would whistle this song.
Okay.
All of us it sounded familiar, but none of us could figure out what it was. Apparently, we got in touch with an owner somehow, and I don't remember if this bird came in as a stray or what the situation is, but we ended up getting a hold of the owner, and it was the theme song to, I think it was the Kill Bill soundtrack. It was something, I
Really?
wasn't familiar with it, but apparently it knew a couple tunes. That was one of them, and then the Addams Family song was another one. Yeah. So a staff member ended up adopting that one.
So do you have
A bird.
If I wanted to adopt a bird?
So we don't take them as owner surrenders because
Okay.
we're really not equipped. We don't have we do keep cages on hand, but we're not equipped. We can do them temporarily or for short amounts of time. But if we do get birds, it's going to be a situation like they were found as a stray or maybe an eviction. So those kind of circumstances that they're brought into via the animal control officers.
What about other exotic animals? Have you got
Yes.
examples of those?
We've
And
had
please somebody no one surrendered, a crocodile or something because we hear
Yes, actually this year.
come on. Tell me
I'm
what
not
happened.
kidding.
What happened?
So I believe it was an eviction. So same thing. Someone moved out of the home apartment and they left behind animals. So when the landlord goes to do, check to see if they moved out, they find the animals. What do they do with them? So they call us. There was a small baby crocodile. Yeah. Yep. So our officers are like, what do we do? We called Bruce Pets, actually. So they are our go-to. They are
Yes.
amazing. We are so
Yes.
grateful for them. They were able to scramble and get an appropriate enclosure and everything. And
Okay.
then we actually ended up connecting with this alligator sanctuary. Yeah, I'm not kidding. This
Bruce Pets in Old Town is awesome.
Yes.
They've been there forever. They're an Old Town institution, and we love them.
They have saved us many a time. So from exotics to crocodiles, alligators, birds even. I mean, just have so much knowledge and resources on how to properly care for them, and they've also taken a lot of our exotics too. So
All right.
yeah.
Okay, we are going to take a quick break, catch our breath. Again, this is all new for us, so we appreciate your patience, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the very first episode of Kirk's Critters Plus on the brand new WLNS Plus app. And I've got a very special guest. You may recognize her from 6 News at Noon, Hannah from the Ingham County Animal Shelter and Animal Control and Shelter. We were talking about that. Talk about how many animal control officers are there?
Yes. So we actually have 6 full-time animal control officers. And we kind of have a early shift and a late shift. So our early shift works 7:30 to 3:30.
Okay.
And our late shift works 1 to 9 p.m. So we have officers on the road. Keep in mind, this is Tuesday through Friday.
Okay.
So Monday we have everyone's 8 to 4, and Saturday we only have one officer on 8 to 4. But we also have someone on call. So if a circumstance popped up where, there was a public safety threat,
Right.
aggressive dog at large, a bite situation, we do have an officer on call at all times.
And so do they randomly drive around looking, or is it simply responding to reports?
Yeah, no, it simply is responding to reports. So we get a lot of calls, and every year it seems to be increasing. So they're busy. They're not just sitting in the office kind of doing nothing.
Yeah.
They're busy. They're usually going from call to call to call.
And so give me another example of what kind of calls that you might get.
Yeah. And keep in mind priorities of calls too. So
Okay.
a dog running around, okay, friendly, that's one thing. Say that dog is aggressive, though.
Yeah.
Say it's chasing down people.
Yeah.
Or say that dog's on the highway,
Oh.
where, that is a very dangerous situation, not only for the dog, but if someone were to hit them.
Right.
So they are always constantly kind of juggling priorities. So dog at large is honestly one of the most common calls, I should say. Welfare. So that is a situation where maybe someone has seen something, heard something, and has concerns about the animal's well-being.
Well, and you always hear about these stories where a neighbor will see, especially now that we're getting into cold weather,
Yes.
they'll see a dog that's chained up
Mm-hmm.
in the middle of winter, which is horrible. But I'm sure that
Yes,
you get those
very
calls, too.
common. Yep. So both the extreme cold and the extreme warm. So all we can enforce is that the dog has basic food, water, and shelter. So while you and I agree that dogs should not live their whole lives outside,
Right.
some people believe that, and unfortunately, all we can enforce is to make sure that they have proper food, water, shelter.
Okay, so there's no law,
Correct, that a dog has to be inside at all. Yep,
even in extreme weather.
even in extreme weather, which is so sad. That one.
That really surprises me.
That one's really hard. So in the extreme weather, we even offer up. We'll do Facebook posts saying like, we know that this extreme cold front's coming in. Here's a crate. All it takes is you could set them up in their bathroom. We could provide you with a crate.
And speaking of crates, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I've heard that you don't want to put like straw or something in a crate for cats or dogs because it gets wet and that's bad for them, right?
So
Or is that a myth?
close. So actually, straw is recommended over a blanket because a
that's right.
blanket could get wet and
Right,
freeze,
and
and then
freeze.
it's basically worthless.
So I had it reversed.
Yep,
Okay.
you had it reversed.
Okay.
But yeah, so straw. Yep, is so versus for dog houses and like a community cat house too.
Okay.
So another thing we can do, or we do at the shelter, we get styrofoam coolers, usually
yeah.
donated, and you can make them into a little cat house. So it keeps those community cats warm during the winter.
So I forgot to ask you, tell me what your home situation.
Yes.
You're a dog mom? Are you a cat mom as
Yep,
well?
and I'm a snake mom.
Oh, okay. Tell me.
All right, so when I started at the shelter 5 years ago, I just had the two dogs, two Great Danes,
Okay.
named Harley and Blue.
Okay.
So my pack has grown quite a few times in the past 5 years. My husband has this theory that I love chaos, so we'd have our crew, and then I'd bring another one home, and then it'd be
Okay.
chaos, so on and so forth. So over the years, I've now had 4 Great Danes.
Wow.
A basset hound named Finn,
Oh.
a bulldog named Tater, and 2 cats, Chubbs and Mavis,
Okay.
and then a corn snake named Candy Cane.
How did you get the corn snake?
Corn snake was actually through a friend who has a reptile rescue. We're all connected in this animal
Okay,
welfare.
yeah.
And it was a hospice situation. I'm a sucker for the seniors where, didn't know how much longer this snake had. She's old. She's got cataracts, but
How do you know if a snake has cataracts?
the eyes are actually very, very cloudy, kind of
Okay.
like people. My senior basset, he kind of has the same look to him. He can find those trees still pretty well, but
Okay.
for the most part, he has some vision problems. But she's the easiest pet. We feed her once a week, and that's
Wow,
it.
that is easy. So let's quickly, I can't believe we're actually running out of time here, but the holidays are coming up.
Yes, they are.
We see these great commercials where, a puppy pops out of a gift box and
Yep.
the child is ecstatic.
Yes.
But that's usually not what you want to do.
Yes.
It's a big responsibility.
It is, and we just want people to think it through.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of factors. Holidays are a crazy time of year.
Right.
I mean, Thanksgiving through New Year's, it's just crazy. Everyone's busy. I did it 2 years ago where I got a puppy around the holidays and maybe should have thought that one through
Okay.
because I had to call my family members and be like, hey, can I bring my puppy with me? Because I can't leave this puppy, home
Right.
alone all day. We're working on potty training. So the time commitment, making sure everyone, I should say, is aware of the situation. Like sometimes parents will surprise the kids, but who's going to be taking care of them
It's the parents.
is the parents. So, but yeah, you see all these cute little reels on TikTok about, everyone being surprised and it's amazing with this cute little puppy, but
two weeks or 3 weeks later,
Yes.
it's like, what were we thinking? Right?
Exactly. Yep. So especially so, a lot of people think, pit bull mixes are the majority of the dogs we have at the shelter.
Yeah.
I will say a close second and third, though, are going to be Huskies and German Shepherds.
Oh.
These breeds are so cute as puppies. They're these little floof balls.
Right.
However,
But
when they
get
grow
big,
up, yes.
they're the
they
size
get
of like a
naughty.
small car, right?
Yep, and their energy level, and they are a very hands-on breed. They're not a couch potato. They are very active. They have a lot of requirements, need a lot of training, that kind of thing. So just thinking it through, whether it's a certain breed. Me myself, bulldogs were always on my wish list just because of how cute they looked. I didn't realize how stubborn they are, though. So I brought home my cute little bulldog.
And quickly, we've only got about 2 minutes left, but let's talk about a lot of pit mixes.
Yes.
Are returned. It's always been my theory, and again, I'm no expert, but it is how they're treated, not their breed.
It really depends, yes. But the big thing that goes into it is it's kind of like nature versus nurture. So yes, genetics play into it, but also the environment where they grew up.
Right.
So how they were treated, how they were disciplined, was it positive reinforcement or negative reinforcement? So yeah, all of that comes into play. And then also the negative perceptions people have of the breed because of what they've heard. The bad stories are the ones that everyone hears.
Right.
They don't hear about the good ones. They don't hear about, this pit bull that was perfect and, never showed an ounce of aggression. It's always the bad one that they hear about.
So quickly, for anyone who wants to adopt a pet, they're microchipped to go through that whole...
Yes. So all of our pets are either spayed or neutered, vaccinated, and microchipped.
Okay.
So that's every single pet. We even offer foster to adopt situations where if the pet isn't spayed or neutered yet, but they will be, you can foster them until their surgery date, and then we finalize after that. Okay. But yes, every animal that leaves the shelter and is adopted gets all those things.
Well, I can't thank you enough for joining me on this very first Kirk's Critters Plus.
Yes.
We've had a few bumps along the way, but I think it went okay
I think
for the
so
most
too.
part. And I hope to do this, more often, about once a week or so, and
Absolutely.
and I'd love to have you back on, or anyone else from the shelter.
Oh, yes.
It might be interesting to talk to an officer.
Oh yeah, we can definitely make that happen.
On what a day is like in their life.
Oh, absolutely. Every day's different.
And we also hope to get some veterinarians on as
Yes.
well. So if you at home watching have any questions, send me an email at kmontgomery@WLNS.com for either a veterinarian or Hannah or anything to do with critters or pets. I'll do my best to answer it. Thank you again so much.
Absolutely.
I
Thanks for
appreciate
having
it.
me.
Okay, everybody. We are 10 seconds away from wrapping this up, but thanks so much for watching the very first Kirk's Critters Plus. I appreciate you. Have a great day.